I sincerely think this might like just work. And when I say just work, like I mean just. I think we might have achieved the impossible. I was kind of thinking that this could happen. Yes, yes, yes. Can you say that I nailed that tire fitment? All right, so it is Tuesday evening. I gotta leave for Mexico in the morning. Quick little getaway, birthday anniversary celebration. However, a key piece just arrived today. This Universal Air / QA1 mini air assembly. And I only got one because this unit here I think was about 850, give or take. Don't remember 100%, but not cheap is what I'm getting at. Not cheap if it's not going to work. So I'm hoping that it will work. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just wait till I get back. And I'm like, let me see if I can get the car up quick enough to see if it will fit in there. Because if it is going to fit in there, then I want to get the second one ordered while I'm away, so that way I can really make a comprehensive video all at once. So this is sort of like some behind the scenes style stuff, which I'm sure some of you guys can appreciate. So I'm not even going to get into detail about what that is because I'm sure I'm going to talk about it when I do the full video. Right now what's important, and guys, I don't even have my floor jack here. It's in the back of my truck, and my truck's at the shop so it can get serviced before going to pits. But hopefully I can lift the car up enough with one hoist arm, get this wheel off, and get that coilover out of there, and we can do some test fitting. So fingers crossed I can get this done and still have some time to eat dinner and pack and do all the things. Like I said, I'm kind of on a tight crunch here, but it's like you get these new parts and all you want to do is get them on, because if I don't find this out, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it's a positive outcome, because well, I guess I'll drink my sorrows away, all-inclusive style, if it's not going to work. So anyways, let's get to it. No problem. This control arm going to want to go down. So I wonder how much like the sway bar is holding stuff up. All right. Boom. Okay, one coilover removed. We'll talk about all this stuff later. Ooh. Okay, I need a way to get these bushings out. Okay, there we go. There's one. Oh, shit, maybe that would work. I don't think it will, but no. Although this down here might actually work, it'd be really hard to maneuver those dials. The issue comes up here, and you know, I'd say you could notch some of this out, but you can see it's all gusseted on the inside here. So the other option would be as if we had a taller hat here, and that would possibly do it. The only thing it'd mean is that would actually take away ride height. But I'm going to take that measurement just in case that does end up being the option that we need, where we need this to be an inch taller. Let me see. So it's 2.5. I need it to be 3.5. So I would end up losing an inch of possible travel. So on the flip side, which would actually make adjustments easier because the knobs would be at the top. as if we mounted this guy upside down. So let's see if that would be an option. Okay. So the back of the housing there is touching that gusset on the back side. That's not allowing me to get the angle that I need here. Oh, it's so close. I think it'll just work. I sincerely think this might like just work. And when I say just work, like I mean just. All right, so I'm back from holidays, and you can probably tell by my voice, I sound like shit, and I kind of feel like shit, to be quite honest. But sometimes the best thing that we can do to help make ourselves feel better is work on our Fox bodies and our projects. At least that's what I'm going to tell myself today. And after that hustle of trying to see if the QA1 / Universal Air Mini setup would fit in the car before flying off to Mexico for a few days. So I left, and it seemed like things were very, very close. Now, obviously, now I've returned, and yesterday I came out here, camera not on, because I really felt like dog shit yesterday. But I managed to get a little somewhere, or make a little bit of progress, and I think I have managed to figure out the possible solution to make this thing work. Here's my madness on the floor, lots of tape and blankets and all that other good stuff. And things are currently apart for the moment. So you can see the upper control arm is up here out of the way. And I actually made my first modification to that red powder coat yesterday with the flappy disc grinder. And I just clearanced a little bit right here. And it's pretty clean. I'll be able to clean that up a little bit more and most likely dab some red paint on there. And what that does is that gives clearance for the bottom of the bag here, so that when this is sitting in there, there's a little bit of clearance down there. Now, the elephant in the room, the most important part, which you guys probably saw a little bit of me fighting with this beforehand. So I swapped the bushings to the spherical style in here that were in these guys. So it was quite easy, just some snap rings, and then pop the bearings out and transferred them over. And of course, they happen to be the same size, which was a nice win. So actually got to put the car up here a little bit. So what I was dealing with is right here. The shock's body is hitting this gusset on the inside. Now, if I loaded the suspension down and, right, this guy would naturally kind of rotate this way, it will actually bolt in place like this. But the problem is it binds when weight is coming off the suspension. So it needs to have the ability to bolt in the way it was designed to. And guys, it literally needs 1/8 of an inch, like a 1/4 inch max. So if we take this guy out and we look at this little egg that I've drawn here. So my train of thought here is that this is just a gusset. This is just pretty to kind of hide some of this area here. So we got to be kind of mindful of this. So you can see there's this 90, and then this guy kind of protrudes out here down there. So it's going to be challenging to try and drill this with a hole saw. So I'm actually just going to drill a pilot hole first. I'll stick a pick tool through there, kind of see what I'm working with on the backside. But just in case you guys are wondering, I did confirm that this isn't, like, yes, it's a gusset and it adds structure, but there's lots of structure around here. When we look at everything else that's surrounding this, and taking out some material here should be our answer. So I have got, what do I have here? A 1 3/8 hole saw, which will kind of fit in between there, and I'm hoping that that will give the clearance that we need. But like I said, I'm going to drill a little pilot hole first, and we'll see what's on the back side of this. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have an air ride solution for this chassis. All right. We've got a hole. Oh, okay. Okay, so I can definitely feel the top side, the bottom. There it is. There's my hole. You can see the big angle on that. All right. Moment of truth, guys. Moment of truth. All right. So the good news is we've got the clearance here. You can see it's actually going further back than what's needed. So that is perfect. That means right there, the bolt goes in, can actually go further. So once we clean up our hole, which by the way, you cannot even see the hole once the suspension will be installed. But what I'm actually fighting right now is this surface down here. We have the clearance here, but the back is resting on things more than I thought it would be. And it's kind of posing a little bit of an issue. Now I can put all the weight of the suspension on and see what happens. There you go. You can see what's going on here. Binding the other way. So here we go. More trial and error. Air strut in and out and in and out, and adjusting the eyelets, looking left, right, up, down, taking measurements, doing all the things, really trying to see how I can make this work. And the amount of hours and effort into this, guys, needs to be time-lapsed because it cannot be captured in a single video altogether. So, although all this up here is good, now we got the down here issues. So you can see the bottom of the bag is bottoming out on the lower side of the control arm here. And this eyelet just doesn't want to go down where we need it. So if this eyelet was a little bit over here, it'd be no problem. In fact, that'd be favorable. If the eyelet on this extension was taller, that would also work. However, that would impact the amount of travel that we're going to have. So we don't necessarily want to do that. You don't even want to know how many hours I have invested. And this could very well just be so that the car can be an inch lower. I'm hoping for 2 inches lower, but yeah, we'll see. It's a lot of time and energy to try and unengineer something that's been engineered a certain way. But if there's a will, there's a way. I know this isn't everyone's cup of tea, and you guys, some of you guys probably think I'm pretty crazy for trying to go down this path, but this is honestly why we build cars, or at least modifiers who build cars, because it's trying to achieve the impossible or trying to break the status quo and all that other good stuff. So I'm going to think on this. I'm going to send a little bit of info over to my guy, Universal Air, see what he thinks. Honestly, it wouldn't be that much work to rework that lower control arm, in all honesty. And then that would mean for that area that I ground out for the sway bar gusset, right? So all of that, if the A-arm got repowder coated again after the modifications were done, then you'd hardly ever know. And the hole that we drilled in the gusset up top, you know, as soon as you put that shock or coil over or whatever it is that you got, it hides it. So we just got to make sure that I'm going to put some coating in there, vacuum all the metal shavings that would have gone down inside, and then find a way to kind of block it off so it doesn't hold moisture and all that. Last thing we'd want is to actually turn that into a little bird bath in there and start rotting stuff from the inside out. All right, guys, we're back because I just don't quit. So while the camera was off, I put the wheel back on and put the car back down, you know, weight on the suspension and stuff, even with that bolt in there loose on the bottom. It's because I wanted to see what would happen once things start leveling out. And I noticed that the sway bar end link was binding something fierce. And I also noticed that when I started putting weight on the bag, I started hitting the bump stop. So a couple things. I think this might actually work. Because by the time you start putting weight on the suspension, you got to remember the weight of the motor and everything else is going to be on here. That control arm starts going up, which is going to level our playing field out in a much nicer way. You can actually see how loose this is right now. So I think we might actually be in a pretty good position here. So I'm going to take the bump stop off. I want to see if I can get the bushing back in there and see if things are actually going to play nicely. And we're going to put the wheel on and see what happens. All right, guys, vice grips for the win. It'll be part of our follow-up. Feel like C-clip, there's less possibility of me stabbing myself. Install take 13. All right, bottom bolt's in. Oh, would you look at that? Everything's lining up now. Oh, I just need that to come down the hair. All right. There we go, weight's off the hoist arm, which this happened before. And then I pushed down on the radiator support and I was like, oh, why isn't it going down? But look, wait, there's more. Oh yeah, there we go. I think that is bottomed out. Without that bump stop. So let's look at some of our vitals here. Sway bar, there's going to be an issue because we can almost literally bolt that into that. You can see with the bag now collapsed, it's sitting flat. So there's actually, hopefully you guys can see that, where I thought there was binding before. There's not now. My little notch here. I might have to take just a little bit more material out of the backside there, but that's doing everything that it should. Bump stop, we can put a shorter one in, and we are just missing that tie rod. So there's a finger worth in there. And just to see if we're compressed, shock's supposed to be like 11 inches compressed. And yeah, that's pretty much, well, 11 3/4 actually. So I think that is it. So there we go, guys. I think we might have achieved the impossible. And just a couple little things, right? To gotta just clearance that little bit of the gusset for the end link for the sway bar. With that said, I think that whole end link assembly needs to get reworked. So I don't even know if that will remain the way that it was. But I will keep it there like that, just in case the air ride doesn't work out, or I sell the car, someone wants to go back to coilovers, they don't like the air. It's always good to have things in a way so you can always go back to the way that it was before. So other than that, do some measurements. Maybe I'm going to carefully grab the driver's side fender. I'm curious to see where the wheel and tire fits on this side right now, with it aired down, so to speak. So let's give it a go. Okay, I can kind of feel tire with my hand. That's a good sign. Let's get something to hold this fender in place here. Oh yeah. I bet your Roadster Shop didn't think you could get a stance like that. Oh yeah. Man, I could have done more with the offset. The good thing is I've got these super long studs. Obviously it's aired out, so the wheel's going to camber in. There's no alignment on here right now, but the wheel studs are so long and there's a lot on that hub. Could probably run like a good 10, 15 millimeter spacer if need be. Might not even need to do it, but oh yes, guys. Honestly, like I almost stopped, well, I did stop the video because I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work and all that, because the damn sway bar, that end link was binding things up and making things not want to work. And now everything has clearance, everything works and fits. And look at that up front. So now I just need to clean things up, but the proof of concept is there. I can order the other side. Then we can do some testing in the rear and see how the shock waves are going to work back there. So this, who knows if this will be a two-part video or what, but we'll see how it all pans out. Lots to cover, so stay tuned. So it's a random Wednesday night, and I'm trying to get the air ride stuff situated, not only in the front, but now in the rear, because the chassis is going to go and get the long tube sorted out and most likely the front section of the exhaust done. So I want to make sure that test fitting and the mock-up parts of the air ride, not only the air ride actually, well, sort of with the air ride, I want to get all of the airbags, struts, suspension components in place so that way I can put the body back down on the chassis, double check the clearance and everything else, and take some photos for the fabricator so that way everything will be good on the header side of things. And that'll also put a good amount of weight on the chassis as well between the motor and everything else. So in that way I'll get a really good idea of where this thing is going to sit when, right, everything is back together. Of course, there's going to be a couple 100 or 2 more pounds of glass, seats, interior, everything else to go into the car, but it should be able to give us a pretty good gauge. You can see I got the driver's side in, and I'm going to go through with you guys right now and show you what I had to do to get it in there. The good news is I thought I would maybe have to move this brake line, but there's actually more than enough room there, so I'm really happy about that. But there is some modifying that needs to be done, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me, but it's actually up in this area, and I'll show you guys exactly what I had to do in a second. So first things first, I'm actually going to jack this side up and pull that out because I need to put the retainer clips back in, the eyelets, both top and bottom, because I swapped them out. I took the ones that were on the coilovers and put them into the eyelets on these guys, so that way everything could bolt up and use the same hardware. So once we get that guy back in, then we'll pull this guy out and we'll do the same thing that we did over here. Good news is it's actually really easy to remove this stuff in the back. And just like that. So if you look closely right here, you can see I thought it was up here and I started shaving a little bit of material off the top, but it was actually on the sides. It was just catching the inner lip of where that passes through. So you can see here's the spherical bushing eyelet setup that they have in there. So I just got to put the retainer clips in, then we can put this back in and we'll go over to that side. You can see now with the weight on the car, here's our clearance. So there's some pretty good clearance from the oil pan there, a little bit more than I would have imagined, to be honest. So here it is. The front is perfect. In fact, I don't think I could ask for anything better. Really, really happy on how that QA1 / universal air setup worked out up there. Now the rear, I was kind of thinking that this could happen. And well, that is just not low enough with no air in that bag, which means the rear is gonna, like, this is where I'd want to be at ride height. So the question's going to be, do I leave the coilovers in the back and just have air in the front so that way I can go over whatever I need to go over, or, you know, just level things out accordingly? Or can I find something else that can work in the back and get me down lower? So stay tuned, guys. So now the elephant in the room, the rear suspension. So after thinking about things, coming out here, laying down on the ground underneath the car with a flashlight, I have visualized the solution. And before we can get to the solution, need to do a test. And I'm going to go over a few things with you guys right now, show you what I'm up to, and hopefully, while the car is at the fab shop for the headers, they'll be able to fab something up for me on the backside here, which will result in more drop. But let's see how much more drop we can get. Is that right now we are sitting at, I want a precise measurement, 26 1/8. So let's go underneath the car now. So welcome to the underside of the car. The first thing that I thought of was, well, is the sway bar binding on anything or causing anything to hang up, keeping the car from going down lower than it should? Sort of like what happened in the front, and the answer was no. And if we look at these bags, we can see that they are collapsed all the way. So there's no quick fix or easy win in terms of being able to use what we've got here. Now the good news is, you can see this big lower arm that's welded to the axle tube, and it holds the trailing arm from the front, holds the rear coilover, or in this case, rear shock wave in the back. So my plan of attack is going to be cutting this off and coming up with a bracket that's going to drop this mounting point down. I'd say maybe 2 inches. I'll grab the measuring tape. Now we need to be careful because this is going to be the lowest point of the car, and we don't want to go too crazily low because the last thing that we need is that catching. But what I'm thinking is, if this gets cut right here, so just this backside, and then we get a bracket or almost slides over this unit, we'll get a longer bolt for the trailing arm to go through, and then probably drill a hole from the underside. And then that way we can have a mounting point here, mounting point there, and then we'll have whatever we need to mount this guy on. One odd thing that I did notice is all the room that lives between, well, quite a bit of room between the bump stop and the axle tube. So either the bump stop is shorter than it needs to be, or they just by design had it right for what I'm trying to do. So the approach is going to be this. I'm actually going to loosen off the bottoms, and we're going to pull these away. So I'm going to get the jack underneath the car, raise it up, take the weight off, and then we're just going to pretend there's no suspension and see how low we can go before things start hitting or binding or whatever it might be. And then we'll be able to get an idea of how low this bracket is going to have to go. So I'm hoping that we can go down 2 inches. Oh, there's actually quite a bit of room. Just gonna go for the bump stop. There we go. Oh, I'm excited to look, guys. Let's see. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this is what we need to achieve. And can you say that I nailed that tire fitment? No spacers, just direct bolt on. Guys, 325, 25, 20. Very happy. Yep, we're good. Both sides. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so proof of concept is good. So we just need to see how much lower I'm able to make those shock mounts. I'm gonna go as low as I can. So here's the one thing about those Shockwave rear air shocks in the back. They don't have much room for displacement because they're so skinny. The diameter is only 4 inches, and I think the stroke is about 3 inches overall, give or take. The reality of riding on those, they require quite a bit of air in order to ride well. So in order to be riding quite comfortably, or for them to be optimal, you probably only want to be an inch lower, or I should say 2 inches left of droppage when you're driving. So the reality was we were at 26 and an eighth before. We're going to measure this out now, and then we can kind of do the math in between. So that 26 and an eighth was with everything collapsed. So if we could get 2 inches lower, that means we could go up 2 inches. That would now, the 26 and an eighth will now become our ride height, which would be a pretty awesome ride height in reality. And then we'll be able to drop down 2 inches lower. Could probably ride around, if we know the roads, 1 inches lower than that, 1 inch higher than this. Like, don't get me wrong, I wish that that could be the ride height. I guess it could be, you know, if I'm a smooth road doing 10 mile an hour for some rolling shots or rolling video. So that's pretty much it. In terms of the suspension, of course, now a little bit of fab work, figure stuff out in the rear. The front's already sorted out. Just got to do some of the finishing bits, you know, where we drilled holes and did all that stuff. Make sure that's all cleaned up. Make sure that there's way for no dirt and water and God knows whatever else to get inside the frame structure. While the car's off at fab, we'll still have the body here, so be able to probably start on the vintage air, the Hydro Boost, cleaning up on the inside, getting some kill mat down, and doing the things. All right, good news. The shorter eyelets, the 1.7 inch actually fit up in there, just barely. Look at this, just enough room for the airline, and the adjustment knob is buried up in there. You're gonna need a special tool to be able to maneuver those guys, but they're gonna work. So I can build out the other one here and get it ready with this guy, and got the special tool here to be able to clamp things down and get that guy off. So let's get that switched over. So here we are swapping out the top eyelet of this Shockwave air shock, and I got the special clamp tool from RideTech that I did not think I would need, but I in fact did. So once you get the clamp tool on the shaft, you apply a little bit of heat, and that allows you to just thread the eyelet off the top. And what I'm doing now is removing the rod for the adjustable valving, cleaning the threads, swapping the eyelet for a 1.7 inch tall one. Now, I had originally purchased a 2.7 inch, thinking that I needed the additional clearance in the upper part of the frame, but with some measurement, it looks like I can squeeze in the 1.7 inch, which means I'm going to gain back an extra inch worth of travel in the overall body of this air shock. So provided this thing is going to fit, which fingers crossed it will, it means that that lower drop bracket that I need to make will only need to drop an inch versus the 2 inches of overall drop that I was looking for before. So I'll get more clearance from the bottom of that bracket to the ground, and I'm going to regain an extra inch worth of travel on the Shockwave, so I get that extra low. All right, there we go. We got our clearance on both sides, so that way it'll go right up into its place, and we'll just have to get the positioning right. So the knob's gonna face forward, and the chassis pointing towards the front. Airline will be out the side like this, and we'll be able to bolt that guy into place. Now we can't actually bolt the guy into place tonight because I actually need to take the brackets off and send them to powder coat, and then once they come back from powder coat, we can actually bolt them in probably for the final time. Now with that said, it means I actually need to pull this guy out of this corner, and that means the chassis will be resting on the bump stops on the axle tubes for now, but it won't be long. My powder coat guys work pretty quick, and they'll be able to knock that out quick time. So that means all my original Roadster Shop coilovers will go on the shelf for now, and everything that I have done is in a way that it can be 100% put back. I think that that's an important point to note, and if anything, I've actually made it so you can drop the rear down 1 inch lower with those shock slash coilover slash air shock extenders, because now that is having the body sit down an inch lower, giving us the stroke back that we needed in the air shocks. But that would actually mean here that this guy could go down an extra inch, because let's be real, this is where it comes from Roadster Shop. There isn't much room to go any lower in the rear by default. So there's a little hack. If you guys do have the factory coilover setup, you could do little drop brackets like that, and that's going to grab you an extra inch. You could, in theory, do something very similar to the front control arms. You're probably thinking, well, hey, look it, there's tons of thread here. You could spin that down if you wanted to. The problem is it's going to hit the flat spot of the control arm, sort of where the bag is resting right now. So you would actually have to open up that hole where the gusset is in that control arm so that this guy could actually spin downwards. So that plate would be kind of resting up here. And yeah, like if you just opened up the gusset and everything, you'd be able to spin this down. You wouldn't have to do any actual modification to the control arm, because you could actually adjust it in the body. But if you did that, you'd probably want to play with a different spring rate, because you'll be messing with the preloads and everything else. But if you wanted to run them like this, then yeah, you could do some sort of extender to drop it down and go from there.